Okay, let's jump right into this masterclass explainer. I'm so excited you're here because today we're unpacking the ultimate guide, Get Millions from Billionaires. We are literally breaking down exactly how elite entrepreneurs secure life-changing capital from the absolute wealthiest people on the planet. Think of this as your visual syllabus. We're going to give you the actionable, real-world strategies you need to navigate the super complex and, honestly, kind of secretive world of high-net-worth fundraising. By the time we wrap up this course, you're going to see elite capital completely differently. It won't be this impossible fortress anymore. It's actually a totally accessible tool as long as you know exactly how to structure your ask and align your big vision with the psychology of the ultra-wealthy.
But before we crack open the syllabus and get into the nuts and bolts, I really want you to look at this number on screen. $13.1 trillion. According to Forbes in 2023, that staggering amount of wealth is held globally by billionaires right now. Just let that sink in for a second. We are talking about resources that literally rival the GDP of entire nations, held by individuals. It's the ultimate resource pool. That's unmatched potential for innovation and scale, and we're going to show you exactly how to tap into it.
So, here is our course agenda for today's explainer. We'll be moving through 5 crucial modules. Module 1 covers the billionaire funding landscape. Module 2 is building the perfect pitch. Module 3 tackles networking and investor psychology. Module 4 is crafting a winning business plan. And finally, Module 5 explores leveraging crowdfunding platforms.
All right, let's kick things off with Module 1, the billionaire funding landscape.
You know, there are over 2,700 billionaires in the world today, but the source material points out something absolutely fascinating. Only a tiny fraction of all that immense wealth actually flows directly into startups. So you might be wondering why the gap? Well, it mostly comes down to friction. Between traditional risk aversion, intense gatekeeping by wealth managers, and simply a lack of access to the right founders, there's a massive bottleneck. But here's the best part. That bottleneck is your opportunity. There is a sea of capital out there just waiting for entrepreneurs who know how to bypass the gatekeepers and speak the exact language these investors want to hear.
And that brings us to our very first core lesson, beautifully summed up by venture capitalist Peter Thiel. He points out that elite investors are hunting for alignment, not just financial returns. Think about it. When you have that level of wealth, making an extra few $1,000,000 isn't exactly what gets you out of bed in the morning, right? They want to fund impactful opportunities that reflect their own personal vision for the future. So keep that word in mind for me, alignment. It's basically the secret password here. If your business solves a problem that keeps a billionaire awake at night, the capital's going to follow the vision.
Moving right along to Module 2, Building the Perfect Pitch. When you finally get in the room, what do they actually want to see? Your pitch has to be built on these 4 pillars: a rock-solid value proposition, massive market potential, totally realistic financial projections, and a watertight business model. Elite investors simply don't have time for fluff. A watertight business model means your unit economics makes sense from day one. It means you've got a highly scalable infrastructure with real, defensible profit margins. Honestly, if you miss even one of these steps, or if your financial projections rely on magic rather than math, that door is going to close so fast. Take Airbnb, for example. Back in the early days, when they went looking for elite capital, they didn't just show off a cool website. They leaned heavily into their completely unique homestay value proposition, and they rigorously proved their rapid growth to validate the market potential. By nailing those exact 4 steps we just talked about, they removed the perceived risk. And it worked. They secured early life-changing investments from heavyweights like Jeff Bezos and Peter Thiel. And the data absolutely backs this up. PitchBook found that startups with a rigorously structured pitch are 30% more likely to get funding. 30%. So structure isn't just about looking sharp in a boardroom, it mathematically increases your odds of getting a check. It tells the investor you are disciplined, highly organized, and capable of managing their money with the exact same rigor you put into your slide deck.
Which leads us perfectly into Module 3, Networking and Investor Psychology.
Networking expert Keith Ferrazzi really hits the nail on the head here. He emphasizes that to secure elite capital, you have to step away from your laptop. You need to hit those exclusive events and really focus on maintaining meaningful, authentic communication. It is all about creating a partnership built on trust long before you ever ask for a dime. Look, the ultra-wealthy are constantly being pitched to. Their default setting is defensive. So building a genuine relationship completely disarms that defense. You become a peer with a shared interest, not just another person with their hand out.
Check out this fascinating data from a WealthX study on investor psychology. A whopping 57% of billionaires actually prefer investing in sectors they are personally passionate about, with tech and philanthropy leading the way.
This circles right back to Peter Thiel's point about alignment. If you can weave your business into their personal passions, you're halfway there. You aren't just selling equity at that point, you're selling them a front-row seat to the exact change they want to see in the world.
A textbook real-world example of this is Elon Musk. His early investment in Tesla wasn't just a spreadsheet calculation, it was driven entirely by his massive personal mission to alter human transportation and fight climate change. He saw Tesla as a vehicle, pun totally intended, for his deepest values. When you can communicate that level of overarching purpose, you attract investors who want their money to leave a real legacy.
All right, let's dive into Module 4, Crafting a Winning Business Plan.
So passion gets you in the room, right? But cold, hard logic is what gets you the funding. Your business plan checklist has to be bulletproof. We're talking sharp executive summaries, deep market analysis, a clear view of the competition, totally viable operational plans, and, this is huge, brutally honest risk assessments. Why is being brutally honest so important? Because billionaires see overly optimistic, pie-in-the-sky scenarios every single day. Proactively highlighting the pitfalls and showing exactly how you're going to mitigate them elevates you from a naive dreamer to a serious, dependable operator.
And if you're wondering if this level of intense planning actually matters, the Small Business Administration says yes. Businesses that come equipped with this caliber of comprehensive planning are 50% more likely to grow and secure funding. 50%. So do the heavy lifting up front. The sweat equity you put into pressure testing your operational plans pays off big time when you're facing down an elite investor's due diligence team.
I mean, just think about SpaceX. Pitching commercial space travel sounds absolutely crazy on the surface, but they didn't just walk in with a sci-fi dream. They provided incredibly detailed technical feasibility studies and rigorous market potential analysis. They broke down the physics, the launch costs, everything. That exact level of undeniable meticulous planning is what won over highly analytical giants like Google co-founder Larry Page.
Finally, let's hit Module 5, Leveraging Crowdfunding Platforms.
Now, your primary goal might be pitching directly to investors, but do not ignore the public square. Our course materials show that platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo are actually incredible visibility engines. Elite investors and their venture teams are constantly scanning these sites. Think of crowdfunding as outsourced, risk-free market validation. Wealthy investors don't have to guess if people want your product. They can literally see thousands of early adopters putting their credit cards down. It removes a massive layer of risk for them.
Just to put that opportunity into perspective, a Fundly report showed an unbelievable $17.2 billion was raised globally via crowdfunding in 2022 alone. That is a massive, undeniable wave of public momentum. It proves the market is more than willing to fund ideas before they're even fully built. And in the startup world, wherever the intense public momentum goes, the massive institutional and billionaire money almost always follows.
Oculus VR is the ultimate example of this backdoor strategy. They started right where we just talked about, as a passionate Kickstarter project trying to build a better VR headset, but they generated so much hype and undeniable market validation that it caught the attention of the tech elite. That initial crowd momentum led directly to a staggering $2 billion buyout led by Mark Zuckerberg himself. So crowdfunding wasn't just about early cash, it was literally their public audition for the big leagues.
So, wrapping this whole masterclass together, once you master all these modules, the pitch structure, the investor psychology, the visibility tactics, you get incredible leverage. You can customize your pitch depending on who you're talking to, whether it's a data-driven tech giant or a legacy-focused philanthropist. And most importantly, you'll know exactly how to turn that initial funding into a highly engaged, long-term partnership as your business scales up.
We're going to wrap up today's explainer with one really big question. You now have the complete roadmap to elite capital. You know why value alignment is absolutely crucial. You've seen the 30% advantage of a structured pitch, the 50% boost of a flawless business plan, and you understand the psychology of the ultra-wealthy. The entire playbook is yours. But the question is, are you ready to put in the intense, unglamorous work required to build a business that billionaires simply cannot ignore? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and get back to building.